Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Boger's Hunting & Co. Today I'm going to be taking you through one of my very first stories, my first buck of 2024. Before we dive into it, I want to say thank you to my family, friends, my subscribers, and a big thank you to the property owners that allowed me to get out there on their soil and hunt. So deer season 2024 was off to a kickstart. Me and the guys were throwing out corn, hanging last minute stands, putting up flash blind setup. If you guys watch some of my other videos, you'll see the one with me and JC doing a last minute setup at one of his places where we got ate up by mosquitoes, but we had a great time. And anyways, we're all getting fired up and ready for the season. And as the story goes, you know, I have two good places to hunt on private, and usually I like to keep about three. Well, I lost one place here over the past year or so, so I was telling the guys how I really wanted to get another third place to hunt so I could bounce around a little bit more, have a little bit more opportunity, and it also helps me out with moving around, having a shot at deer without putting too much pressure on them. So I just decided one day out the blue that I was just going to go knocking on doors in a local area where I knew that they were possibly holding some deer. I knocked on about 2 or 3 doors, and on the third one I was invited inside. I talked to the property owner, told him what I wanted to do, and come to find out in his younger days he was a big hunter, so he told me just to get out there, go do it. Anytime I wanted to come there and hunt, he said I was more than welcome. So I was just thrilled with that whole win so far as getting permission. It's my first door knock permission, so we've been waiting all summer, spending our time fishing to pass the time, and we are just ready to get back in the deer woods. We all got deer showing up. We know we all got a good chance that we could line up one of these deer early season before they get into their fall pattern. So yeah, we're in the woods getting ready for them. So at the farm I have a deer that I named Twix. He's a tall frame, 8 small tines, but I mean he's just real tall, a pretty deer, one that I really like to get my hands on.
You want it, gotta work for that bag, go get it one day, you can brag. You want it, gotta work for that bag, go get it one day, you can brag. I say that I have it, you know.
At the place that I call the jungle, I put up a video where I was doing a food plot out there. I have this one deer. He's a nice wide deer, really thick frames, and I called him Dozer, just how wide and the mass of his antlers are.
You know that I got it, no need to look all in a bag. Something like this, cause I work so hard, I'm the best, I only speak facts. In the store, I'm popping them tags, a limited ceiling with stack. Cloud chasing for the cash grab, I don't really want it that bad. I'm trying to cut a milli.
So anyways, I was focused on trying to kill one of these 2 deer, and once I came across the third property, I just started off, I didn't really have much of a setup. I just wanted to throw a little bit of corn out there, see if and what kind of deer were in the area, and to my surprise, you know, within the first night I had a couple does coming in. These does started coming in quite regularly. I was excited, and you know, before 2 days was up, I got my first buck on camera, so that got me real fired up to know that there were bucks in the area that were willing to come up to the place that I was you know, throwing corn and baiting at. So as I continue to bait this place, the deer just start to come more and more frequently. They just start getting real comfortable coming in during the daylight hours, and I knew I needed to get in there and get set up. I thought about hanging a stand. The area that I'm located in, it is just surrounded by pine trees. So it's real good for cover. The deer feel safe there, but these pine trees are just so thick. I mean, I would have to cut, you know, 20 or 30 different branches just to get a stand set up in the location, which would be fine in the off season to do during the summer. But with this being a last minute access, I just decided to throw up a pop-up blind and see what the deer were going to do. All right, got the spot straight. See this tree line? That's where I'm gonna go in here with the ghost blind. Have it all cleared, nice and dry. Straight to that right there. Let me show you. corn. Went and got me a T-post. Got all patched up and ready to go. So I don't even have to go over by there. Cut me a little way through here. It's a 25-yard shot. There's the cornhole. And I'm just gonna keep this thing closed and cut me one little hole in there. All black, baby. It's bow season. One thing I noticed that the deer were doing, once I put that blind out there and they were aware of it, because it's about 25 yards straight in front of them, where I was throwing the corn, there was a big thicket of brush, and what the deer were doing is that they were walking up from behind that brush and they were sticking their heads out without exposing their body and feeding on the corn. You know, these deer are smart. They know the deal. A lot of the times, these deer didn't seem very pressured, but they were no fools. They knew that that blind wasn't right and that corn pile wasn't right, and so they were going to do everything they could to keep themselves from being exposed and being in danger. And so as I continued to bait, I decided to move the corn pile up about 4 or 5 yards from that brush that they were sticking their heads out through. And I said, if these deer want to eat, they're going to have to come out and expose themselves where I can have a decent shot at them from the blind. And so after I did that, it took about 2 or 3 days, and you know, as you know, at the deer, they're gonna eat. So they came out and they started feeding. They got real comfortable. These deer were coming day and night, daylight and broad daylight. I mean, 7 o'clock p.m. up to 8:30 in the morning, and they had just got real comfortable doing what they were doing, and I knew it was time for me to get in there and try to make a stand. So as I'm watching the camera, I have some good deer show up. I have one deer that showed up that I was pretty much planning to hunt him. He was the biggest one out the pack, and I named him Debo, just the mass of his times, and you could just tell he was the dominant buck in the area. And so Debo just, you know, he came in broad daylight, early in the morning till late in the morning, and he had just got comfortable. As I'm getting all prepared to hunt Debo, about the 2nd or 3rd day before I decide to go in after him, I have another deer show up, and man, he's got everything. He's got the tall tines, typical frame 8-pointer. He just had, you know, he was a nice sized deer, and he was just the best deer out there. And I thought to myself, you know, I'm gonna go in here, whether it's Debo, this new deer, which I named Casper, because how he just popped up out the blue and I had never seen him before. About 2 days before I decided to go hunt, I said, whichever one shows up, you know, that's who I'm gonna be going after. I really wanted to have Casper, but I knew he was kind of new to the area and not, you know, a home range buck. So I was thinking I would get a shot at Debo or another one of the deers that I had been seeing. Well, I head out one evening, I go and hunt and I don't see anything. I'm kind of glad I didn't. It was just like a learning process, getting my camera gear all set up and figure out how I was gonna hunt it. And then I waited 2 days and I went out again. I don't know what it was. I just had the butterflies in my stomach. I just felt like, you know, something was going on. My senses were just heightened. It was almost like a sixth sense. And even in the video where I did my interview, I spoke about it. So without further ado, let me take you guys
into the hunt.
Well folks, welcome back to the channel. It's mid-September. I'm going on an evening hunt. I don't know what it is today, but I just got the jitters. I've been having some really decent bucks come in here. I'm doing something different today that I normally don't do. I'm hunting from the ground. So I'm gonna get into the ground blind today, try to get a hole cut for the camera, and I'm hoping around 7:30ish I can get one of these deer to come in. There's 2 that I like to shoot. One is real wide and don't have much height, and the other one, he is just a giant. I mean, he is a giant for around these parts. So I got a northeast wind, which will be a crosswind blowing away from me, which is perfect. Hopefully those deer come in from the side. And one thing I noticed is when they're coming up to my food plot, since the blind is kind of straight ahead, they like to feed facing straight on. So I'm hoping that I can get one of them to turn. What I did is I moved the corn up from a bush that the corn was pretty much backed up against, because they were coming up behind that bush and sticking their head through it where they didn't have to expose their bodies, knowing that that blind was put out there kind of last minute. But this is kind of like a last minute setup kind of thing. So Anyways, we're gonna get out here, we're gonna try and hunt, and we're gonna pray that we can get an arrow in this deer and kill him quick, ethically, and fast. For those that follow, like, subscribe, follow the channel, send a request for the Facebook group, and we're gonna get this season on.
Hanging around at the last orders, still so far from home. It's like we're burning into embers. The fire burns cold world.
And there he stands, Casper, the deer of my dreams. At this moment in time, my heart's beating 160 beats per minute. I'm hyperventilating, and the only thing I can think is, don't mess this up. Y'all, I have been praying, and I have been thinking about that deer the entire time I'm at work. All I could think about was getting out here hunting these deer. And boy, if I ain't get that mega meat in him, it sounds like he crashed right over there. But I'm afraid to get up. I don't want to push him. So I'm gonna sit tight. If I kill that deer, that'll probably be the biggest deer I've ever shot. The old Matthews, baby. So I'm back here after the hunt. I just talked to one of my buddies that does tracking with dogs. He's advised me to stay out of there for about 24 to 48 hours. I reviewed the shot on film, and I hit the deer back and kind of low. But as we zoomed in, I pretty much hit the, and got a good look at it, I pretty much hit the deer dead square in the center of the body. So there's a good chance that I blew his liver out, possibly even got the back of a lung. I thought it was just a straight gut shot, but the way he dropped down, he kind of opened up and it hit that deer square in the middle of his chest. So I just got my finger crossed. I'm kind of all shook up, my nerves are wrecked. If I get that deer, that'll be the biggest deer I've killed in my life. And I really need this one. I timed that deer. As soon as he showed up, I knew that was the deer I wanted. There was one other that I was thinking about getting, and it just, my luck, he was the first one to walk out today and give me a shot broadside. So I'm just gonna back out today and give it time and see if I can come up with this deer. I'm gonna lose the meat, but I need that head. I need that trophy. That deer's probably 130, 140 or something like that. Maybe I'm overshooting it, but just looking at the film, that was a pretty big deer. Nobody ever really wants to recover a deer like that, but I knew just from my hunting experience, if I ever wanted to see anything of this deer, you know, that's what I was going to have to do, is back out for 24 to 36 hours. It was kind of heartbreaking and bittersweet, but I did recover the deer. It was a good buck to get on the ground for the first deer of the season, and you know, it just was what it was. Out of my respect for the chase of these animals and the hunting experience that this guy gave me, I decided I didn't want to show the recovery videos. Whenever I recover them, coyotes had tore him apart. It was nothing left but the head and the skeleton, unfortunately. But I was still very pleased to be able to recover this deer, to bring him home, and to put one of my tags on this deer. I decided to name this deer Casper because he showed up 2 or 3 days before I shot him. I didn't have a lot of history with him. Even after shooting him, I didn't get to go immediately after recovery. And even when I did recover him, I never just got to see this deer in its full glory in person. Like I said, the coyotes had got to him, and nothing was left of him but his skeleton and his rack and his skull. So, you know, that's just how it goes sometimes when you're bow hunting. That's just the reality of it. You're not always going to make the best shot. So here he is, Casper, my first buck of 2024. I really enjoyed the chase this guy gave me, the story I was able to develop and bring to you guys. Continue to like, subscribe, and follow the channel at Boger's Hunting & Co. And we'll see you in the deer woods. Thank you to everybody who took the time to watch this video.